Hey 4xe fans, I've had some recent questions about my light setup on my 4xe and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. You can see I have 6 lights. Those are just Tractor Supply lights, nothing fancy. I have 6 of those on a mount that I kind of modified, built, created kind of thing. And then I have a couple lights on each cowl. It's kind of hard to see, there are 2 there. And those are Tractor Supply too, nothing fancy, nothing expensive. You can go spend a lot of money on fancy lights, and they're great, don't get me wrong, but I didn't want to bust a light and then I'll be all heartbroken if I was out off-roading or something. These are just not expensive, so not a big deal if something gets busted. And I have the Stealth Light Bar from Quadratec, and of course I have the adaptive cruise control, so you have that nice little space there in the middle. So somebody was asking me on YouTube in the comments about how bright is the Quadratec Stealth Light Bar. I have to first tell you a little bit how my light setup works. It's relays under the hood. They're connected to aux 1 and aux 2. Aux 1 are my lights up here on the cowl, and aux 2 are my lights out on the bumper. But those do not turn on unless I put on my high beams. So you can see, I don't know if you can see that they're on there, they're off there, and I'm just turning on and off my high beams. And if I don't have those enabled, then it's just the regular high beams by themselves without those. Same with my Stealth Light Bar. It doesn't turn on unless I turn on my high beams. So somebody asked the question of how bright really is the Quadratec Stealth Light Bar. And I've never really been able to demonstrate it before in a previous video because I always had to have my high beams on to have that on. And as soon as I turned them off, they went off. So it was kind of hard to make a comparison. I have since installed a button up here. It's kind of hard to see. It's up beside the charging lights there that actually activates the circuit that comes off of my high beams, but it doesn't activate my high beams, if that makes sense. I put a diode in there, so it only activates the relays that are connecting all this stuff. So now I don't have the high beams on. Now if I turn on aux 2, those lights come on. If I turn on aux 1, those lights come on. And if I turn on the Stealth Light Bar, it comes on. So I figured the best way to see how bright it really is, now the only light you're seeing out there are the daytime running lights, which I guess I could go in and turn those off if I can find it really quick. Daytime running lights. Okay, so those are off. You can see how bright those are. So those are off, and now the only light that's out there are the halos, which aren't too bright at all. So here are the headlights. No headlights. Here is the Stealth Light Bar. So headlights, Stealth Light Bar. You can see it really fills in there. Now I'll turn on the high beams. So there's the high beams. There's the Stealth Light Bar. High beams, Stealth Light Bar. So you can see it really fills in there. Now if I add my cowl lights, you can see it gets a little bit wider, and then a bunch in the middle. Of course, there's a post. I think you saw at the beginning of the video. There's a post sitting right at the front of the vehicle, so there's a big shadow there in the middle. But that's what it all looks like when if you want to use that for a comparison of how bright the Stealth Light Bar. Now, you're not going to get the kind of light you would get on an external light bar. I mean, let's just be honest. There's drawbacks to the Stealth Light Bar. But if you want a light bar that keeps your vehicle from looking like an off-road rig all the time, that's kind of what I wanted. I didn't want something that looked all off-roady all the time, because this is my daily driver. And so I went with the Stealth Light Bar, and yeah, I could probably get something brighter, but I like the trade-off. So there you go. Hope that answers the question for anybody who's curious about how bright the Stealth Light Bar really is. I mean, you could drive by that, I guess. I mean, that's just the Stealth Light Bar by itself, and then with the amber on. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Take care.